Hi, this is Dot Ikwerigo Achiru, and I'm coming to you from Talk to Dot. In my channel, I spend a lot of time trying to expose domestic abuse for what it is, to create awareness for those that are living in an abusive situation, for those who are about to enter an abusive situation, and those that have come out. Most importantly, I try to enlighten and educate those around the victims or those in the circumstance of abuse so that maybe friends and family could help the victims of abuse realize what they're in and help them come out of it. In a minute, why can't she leave? She's suffering, obviously. She's not happy. Why doesn't she leave? I'll tell you why. One of the major reasons that women don't leave abusive relationships that we, external parties watching, don't see is fear, the danger of leaving. Now, these women in abusive situations, especially those that get beat up or even those that are emotionally abused, they understand their partner and they know how the person functions. They're afraid of what's going to happen to them when they leave. It is more of a situation where they have understood what they live in. They understand why they get beat up. They understand why they get abused. They found a way around it, found a way to make the abnormal normal. Asking them to leave, they don't know what they're escaping to. Statistics has proved that 55% of people or women that leave abusive relationships end up being killed by their ex-partners. 87% of them get killed within the first 1 year. So why do women not leave? Because they don't want to die. Another major reason they don't leave is isolation. So a lot of them find themselves in a relationship and the man moves down and they move town. He cuts off and limits their access to friends and family. He breaks those ties, those social connections. So when this person has lived in abuse for a period of time, they become dependently, absolutely and totally dependent on the abuser. Now, asking them to leave, they have nowhere to leave to, especially when they have broken all ties and all social connections. Where are they going to go to? A lot of times in the bid to create isolation around the victim, the abuser makes sure that he kind of breaks the relationship, which is causing a feud between the victim and their family or their friends. So that victim is thinking, well, I've had issues with all my friends. How am I going to go back to them? Who am I going to go to? So they're stuck because they've spent so much time being in isolation. A lot of times the perpetrator is someone who is charismatic and cheerful and charming, created an aura and a network around themselves, showing that they are the good people, and the victim, who hardly ever speaks to anyone, is a bad person. It makes it very difficult for anyone to believe the story of the victim. In an abusive relationship, the abuser makes sure that you don't make any decisions. They tell you what to do. The reason why they do these things here, which starts as something sweet and you think, oh, he's just being very helpful, is because they want to break you down. Because over a period of time, it turns to, you can't do anything without me. Look, you can't get anything right. And then a person has stayed in that for a long time that they begin to think, can I survive on my own out there? So they end up staying for longer because they've been told and they've been made to believe, they've been traumatized in so many ways, and they actually believe that they're not good enough to survive on their own out there. They actually believe that they do need the abusive person. Remember, they fell in love with this person, and at one point, it was probably good. For every time an abusive person unleashes abuse on the victim, they turn around and make an apology. Even though in the apology, they're saying, I'm sorry, but you made me do this. The abuser controls every single aspect of the victim's life. They control the money, they control the associations, they control the decision making, they control the children. If a victim wants to leave, everything is controlled. It's the fear of, okay, they're not going to let me take my children with me, or I haven't got any access to money, or I haven't got access to anything. Like I don't have the car keys, or I was never allowed to drive. I don't know how to drive. I've got no money to, get on the bus and go anywhere. I don't even have access to a phone. Leave to where? The government and associations and charities are doing quite a lot of massive work around creating shelters and support. But a lot of times the support isn't really there. So you can make that one phone call and you can be asked to leave. But a lot of time, leave to where? A lot of times, leave to where? Leave to where? A shelter? Somewhere that doesn't look great. So people, even though that's actually better for them, it's actually, a step in the right direction. But when you live in a place that you have understood and you have learned to live in, you've learned to cope and survive in, how, that step to take, it's not that easy. It's not that easy at all. You know what? After they leave, potentially, there's that battle of staying away and going back. Society plays a very, very key role in people not leaving. There's the ride or die perception where staying there, just hanging. People want to promote that whole idea of a fantastic relation, things are great. So a lot of times people think, I don't want to be that person with a failed relationship. I don't want to be that single mother or that single father. I don't want to be that person that failed, because society tends to blame you, like, you should have stayed longer, you should have tried harder, did you do this and did you do that? So a lot of times people just decide to stick it in there, and sometimes they just think, you know what, I've been here 10 years, I'm sure I can just continue. I don't know what's out there for me. This is a major problem. Society needs to educate themselves. This is why, as much as I talk to people in abusive situations, I also want the people around them to understand what's going on, so that in the event that you have that sister or that brother that comes to you to tell you about their situation, or that friend, you can tell them, for real, get out of there. It's pressure to have a perfect relationship, and social media doesn't do any justice to that. So everyone wants to perpetrate that perfect relationship. Things are fine on social media, and you've done that for so long. Your abuser has done that for so long. So you're thinking, when I leave, how do I tell this story that it's always been bad? So they stick in there, as opposed to going out there and saying that, oh, I had a problem. There is this shame of guilt, especially when you had those one or two people that said don't go into it, and you did anyway. So you're thinking, they're going to blame me. Or you're going to have those people that will say, but I told you not to date him. I told you not to move towns. Forget about the blame games, okay? Support people in abuse. And if you're being abused, you know what? It's your life. It doesn't matter if people are going to blame you. It's you. You need to get out, and you need to survive. From me to you, talk to Dot. One love, peace, guidance, respect.